Hi, I'm Louise Aubery, your host, and I'm glad to present you this new episode of the Lights on Women's Worth podcast by L'Oréal Paris. Enjoy!
Hi, Elle.
Hello.
Welcome on the Lights on Women's Worth podcast.
Thank you.
I'm really happy to have you here.
Me too.
So we are here to put the lights on women. And I was wondering, do you remember the first time you were under the spotlight?
Wow. Well, under the spotlight. I mean, I guess that can mean a lot of different things. Like the first time maybe I got nervous or stage fright, because I do get nervous. Like I'm not immune to that. I started acting when I was 2. So my first job was actually playing my sister at a younger age in a film, like in a flashback scene. That I was too young. I do not remember that. But gosh, I mean, also like, I didn't really do plays in school, but when you'd have to do like a presentation in front of the class or like a school,
Those
that
can
would
be
make
the
me
worst.
nervous. Yeah, I know. I flash back to those times when you would have to kind of memorize these speeches for school or something, which sometimes I feel like that on a film set where you feel like, oh, the spotlight's on you and you feel nervous. But I think it's really good to feel those nerves because if you don't have the nerves, then I feel like you're doing something wrong. Like it's important and it gives you that adrenaline to kind of create something magical. I think like nerves can really make something kind of a once in a lifetime like moment. And especially in films or on camera, like that spontaneity is really important. So I like to make myself nervous and scared.
I love that because so many women are afraid of that just because we are stepping out of our comfort zone.
True.
How do you learn to handle maybe that pressure or the doubts, especially in your industry?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of, you're surrounded by very heightened circumstances a lot of the time. And so you have to kind of ground yourself or, I figured out over the years how to kind of ground myself in the reality of the situation and not getting too obsessed with, what's happening right at that moment because, okay, we're going to live another day. There's going to be another project, even if you're rejected. And if someone tells you no, there's going to be something else that it comes along and is going to be even a better opportunity or more right for you. And everything does happen for a reason. And I do think the hard work really pays off, like in the long run. It might be more difficult to get there, to be kind to everyone and to be patient and to work hard. And, sometimes that's more difficult, but that's the best way to do it. And you do have to step outside of your comfort zone to get there too. I mean, I think the most challenging roles, the ones that you're scared of when you read them, I felt like those are the ones that I always want to do because I do want to push myself. But I've been lucky that I've known what I've wanted to kind of do since a young age and been able to do that. But as just women in general, not even about like Hollywood, it's just we have to use our voice, and sometimes that's scary and also like very male dominated settings and rooms. I've been in those before where it's like, it's mostly all men and you're trying to get your voice across. And it's been intimidating at first, but I've learned to just stand my ground and speak my mind and my opinion. And it makes you feel really confident. I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah.
Your first Cannes Film Festival was in 2017, right before you became a L'Oréal Paris ambassador.
Yes.
So how did you feel then and how do you feel now?
Wow. Well, gosh, that was I'd never been to Cannes. Obviously, it was my first time. I had a movie there, The Neon Demon, that Nick Refn directed. And it was a very polarizing film. It was actually, funny enough, but it was about beauty standards, kind of that movie was. And I was 16 when I think I was 17 when I filmed the movie, but I was 18 when it was my first Cannes. And the festival was like overwhelming, but it was so much fun. It was like the best trip. And it was my prom night, actually.
Oh, yeah, you said that
yesterday.
Last
night. Yeah, it was my prom night when on the movie premiere and date. So my mom actually had my prom date like fly out, and we took little prom pictures with flowers, but it was so surreal. I was like in this ball gown and in Cannes, and so I mean, not a lot of people can say that. It's not very relatable, that's for sure.
So the guy missed the prom night to come with you. Okay, that's a keeper.
I know.
He's a keeper.
I know. He was actually, we weren't dating or anything. He was like my best friend, and we always said that we would go to senior prom together, and so we did. But he's a great guy. We're still best friends. We talk about that experience often. But I think I've changed a lot from now. I'm 26.
Me too.
Great. Oh, yay. What's your birthday?
2nd of July.
Okay, I'm April 9th.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, 26, crazy. Like from 18 to 26, I do feel like a different person. Like in a lot of ways, I still feel like I've kept kind of this childlike view of the world. And I think I always hope to have that, kind of that innocence and childlike sensibility. But then I've also am a lot more sure of who I am and where I want to go, and a lot more sure of myself. And now getting to go to Cannes, it's a totally different experience from that, because I go with L'Oréal Paris a lot of the time. Every year that I can go, I'm in Cannes.
That's a great.
Yeah, I know. It's like puns.
Jeu de mots.
And it's every year with L'Oréal, it's so empowering to be reunited with the other spokes. And, even last night, it's like I had an interview with Viola and Helen, and gosh,
they are on the podcast as well. So be sure to listen to the
Shout
episodes.
Out. Yeah, shout out. But they're so inspiring. Andy McDowell, it's like I hope to be with L'Oréal as long as they have,
And this year you are the juror of the Lights on Women's Worth Award. So that's something.
Yes.
What did it change for you, and how does it feel to be the one who is shedding the lights on other women?
It means a lot. That it's so important. Obviously, there has been great progress that has been made in the industry about, just having these conversations is more of a progression than it has been in the past, but about opening doors for these female directors, but not even just directors. It's just women in general in the industry who are on, the behind the scenes, on the crews, and, because you do walk into set and it's mostly like very male dominated place. And we're starting to see a change, and at least those conversations are happening, but it is because of awards like these that are helping to put women in that position and to support them. And it's the 4th year that L'Oréal has done this award, and Kate Winslet was the juror a couple of years ago. It was like big shoes to fill with that. But I had an amazing time watching the short films, and they were also different in their own way. And Delphine, she said beautifully last night, but about how, she's going to, L'Oreal is going to support the prize winner. It's not like you just win a prize and get money and that's it. It's like L'Oréal Paris really mentors that person to help them in a business sense, or to help them, meet the people that they need to meet and get into those rooms. And that's what we have to do. I'm a producer as well as an actor, and whenever I'm given the opportunity to hire a writer or a director, I always try to hire a woman. Yeah.
That's sorority.
Mm-hmm.
And sorority, sisterhood, is a core value of L'Oréal Paris. And I know you have a sister. Yes. What is maybe the most precious lesson she taught you?
My sister's my best friend. She's my favorite person in the world. She's my big sister, who I've just always looked up to. I've always followed in her footsteps. I've always tried to, do everything she did, wanted to be like her, wanted to be as cool as her. Like, she's just the ultimate cool big sister. And we talk about everything. We're so open with each other. And obviously she's an actor as well. So it's nice having someone who really understands what you do. And even though we don't talk about business that much, we're normally gossiping about other things, but still the advice she's given, I think it's more just she's led by example of what a graceful, kind of classy, she's handled everything with grace that's happened to her in her career. And, you know, I've seen times when it's not been as easy. You know, I mean, she's seen times that it's been hard for me, and navigating those bumpy roads and seeing how she has navigated that, I think has given me strength and confidence. And yeah, I'll always have her. It's nice. Do you have a sister?
I have a twin, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The most important person in my life, and she abandoned me because she's living in the US.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a long
So
way.
Camille, if you are listening to us, please come back to Paris.
Yes. Wow. Does she look like you?
No, she doesn't actually.
Okay.
And I feel like it's a good thing, because I don't know how it was for you, but I feel like when you have a sister, if you're like very close with her, it's easy to fall in the trap of comparison, either because, you know, you are putting yourself that pressure, or because society is.
Yeah.
So how do you not fall in the trap of comparison?
Yeah. I think it's like you just said, it's like society that likes to do that. And we are not competitive. Like, I know that, I mean, of course some sisters are, and like, I get that. And I think it surprises people when they hear that we're not competitive. They're like, how could they not be, you know? But we really aren't. Like, we're each other's number one supporters. But society does like to ask us those questions a lot, like, oh, are you jealous, or are you competitive because you're in the same industry? And it's like, but I think that's the problem. And that's what also, even L'Oreal is trying to
Change that narrative.
Yeah, that we don't have to be competitive with other women, whether it's your sister or just another woman in general. It's like, they don't really ask men that, you know, it's like they're such like a bro club.
Yeah.
And it's like, why can't we be the same? We're empowering each other and not being catty, and like society's putting this competition amongst.
I feel like the movies are responsible of that narrative. Like, women have always been portrayed as rivals rather than allies.
Totally.
So that's why we need more female directors as well, like to change the way we portray women.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know, I agree. I mean, I even remember like when Frozen came out, you know, animated movie, like, and it was the sister's story instead of about the prince, and it was like so revolutionary, you know, at that time.
We love Frozen.
Yeah.
And I read that you actually wrote a scenario when you were 8. Do you remember that?
A movie? I mean, I wrote a lot of things growing up. Like, I would always write short stories. I don't know if I remember specifically what it was, but
how did you choose like becoming an actress and a producer and not a director? Yeah. How do you navigate for that?
Well, I mean, I still hope to direct something one day. That's a goal, but I just think right now I'm like still a little, I need to learn a little bit more, or I think I actually need to still gain the confidence in that. I probably could do it, but I don't know if I believe in myself quite yet to be able to do it. So that's the next step, to get to that point for my inside that to have that confidence. I don't think it's quite there yet, but one day I hope to be able to get there, because I love filmmaking and even the producing step. You know, I started when I was so young, and you see the behind the scenes of how everything works, and then you want to get involved more and have more power and agency for yourself. So.
How do you work on your self-confidence?
Oh, I don't know. It's like, can it be worked on? I don't know. It's hard. I know.
Like, to me, it's a muscle.
Right.
I think it's a muscle.
Yeah.
That you need to practice.
That makes sense.
That's very fake it until you make it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, how do I do that?
How did you get, like, are you more confident now than, for example, in 2017 when you first walked the red carpet?
I think so. I mean, I was a pretty confident child. Like, when you see, like,
as you should.
I was like, but maybe a little bit too much. Like, you know, I definitely I've always been, you know, quite confident in that sense. But I've definitely, I think I'm just more sure of myself now. And how do I practice it? I don't know. I think you have to just practice like self-love and like taking time for yourself and working on your independence as a person and not relying so much on others. I think that's like a way that you can work things out, like taking time for yourself and
know your worth.
Yeah.
And your value.
Yeah.
How do you feed contentment having the career you already have at such a young age?
Whoa. Well, I mean, I still feel like there's such a long way for me still to go. Like there's so many goals that I still have in my career and things that I still haven't accomplished. And I think, gosh, in a career like this, there's so many, it's kind of endless possibilities that you get to do and endless possibility of characters. But I mean, also finding great female characters, you know, can be tough at times. So that's another reason of wanting to produce my own work, is that I can go out and find a book or an article or something that I respond to and then try to make it myself. Because if someone's not, if it's not out there, then try to do it yourself. That's my advice.
I love that.
Yeah.
And for the Lights on Women's Worth, that's so hard to say. The Lights on Women's Worth Award by L'Oréal Paris. How was the process of selection? That must be so hard. Oh, you actually were a juror of the Cannes Film Festival. I think you were the youngest, actually.
Yes.
Okay, so first question, and then we'll come back to that.
Yes.
Okay, how did you handle that responsibility, especially because you knew you were the youngest?
Oh yeah. Oh, for the main competition.
Yeah, for the main competition.
Wow, that was when I got that call. It was like I couldn't believe that they had asked me. I was like, me? Like, are you sure? Me? I'd obviously been to Cannes a couple times before, and I'd met Thierry, who, you know, the president of the festival. And he asked me to join, and it was really the most magical, incredible experience. I wish those 2 weeks, it's what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were like the best 2 weeks of my life. If I could go back, I would. Because what fun. You get to watch all these films and then talk about them and kind of dissect them with some of the biggest auteurs in cinema in the world, and you're all in a room getting to decide. And I felt so respected as well on that jury, you know, amongst people. I was the youngest there, but they treated me very much as their equal, and I felt like I was heard all the same. And we had really interesting conversations. So once I got over the excitement, I was like down to business, you know? and then I think that experience really helped me to make my decision for the Lights on Women's Worth Award the other night with the short films.
Because you knew the process.
I kind of knew the process and kind of what to look for. And I think also it's an instinctual reaction when you watch something, like it's just an emotional response. And also, I mean, awards, this is a great award to bring awareness, of course, to this and to help these female filmmakers. But, you know, winning something, it's in the eye of the beholder. Like, you know, it's like, what is the best? It's
very subjective.
Yeah, that's the word. It's very subjective, and it's just kind of my opinion, but I'm sure everyone would have, you know, different ones.
Yeah.
So that's what's hard. I mean, with awards in general, it's like, it's so subjective.
That's the beauty of art as well.
You can't really pick. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can't pick.
So we're going to name her because we are here to highlight women. Viv Lee won the award, the Lights on Women's Worth Award last night for her short film Across Water.
Yes.
I haven't watched the short film yet, but just your words and your emotion and the passion you had last night talking about the short film. Oh. Yeah, it really, I really want to watch it now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. I hope that it inspired. I felt, but her film also kind of inspired me to be able to talk about it in that way. And I think, I mean, the way that I interpreted the film, I think others might interpret it in their own different ways. But I think that's kind of the beauty of it. But it really stuck out to me. I thought hit like an emotional chord. The story also centered around a young girl, and I thought that was very fitting for our Lights on Women's Worth Award, and about this young girl. She's living in rural China, and she's a waitress in a mining town, and a stranger comes along to visit her and kind of opens up her world through music. It's set in the 1980s, and he has a Walkman, and she sees the Walkman. She doesn't know what it is. She's never seen anything like that before, and she listens to this song that she's never heard before, and her whole world is opened. And Viv Lee talked about this last night, but in her little speech, but she said that the music to the little girl is what filmmaking is to her, and I could feel that it was a personal story in that way, that it meant a lot to her. So yeah, but it was hard. I mean, you know, it wasn't like an easy decision amongst all, there was 10 films I had to watch.
Yeah. do you feel fear sometimes? Because like it's all the amazing opportunities you have. I feel you have the confidence to embrace them rather than fearing them. And I feel like so many women are stopped by, their fear, the fear of not being enough, the fear of doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So have you always been that way?
Well, there are some times when I'm really confident and I can make a decision and I'm like, I know this is scary, but I can do it. Like, I know that I can do it. But then there are other times where I do have a big fear of putting myself out there and fear that people are going to like make fun of me or think like I'm silly or something. Do you know what I mean? There is that. And I do get that sometimes. And you have to talk yourself. Either that's a reaction where it's like, maybe you shouldn't do it, or
do you want to, but you're just stressed?
Do you want to, you're distressed. Yeah. So you have to kind of determine what that is, what that feeling is. Because sometimes that can be just a feeling of, like you said, being scared and not wanting to, out of fear of like other people. Because it's mostly fear of other people making fun of you.
Yeah.
It's not really about yourself. It's about, or loved ones. I mean, they're always going to support you, but it's about kind of society and strangers, people you don't even know that are going to be like commenting on the internet. I mean, I've even felt that way before where I'm like, but I'm not really qualified, or like I can't do this part because I can't like play that instrument, or like, do you know what I mean? Like something like that. And you're like, no, but you can learn, or
you can learn.
Yeah,
that's the point of
I
living.
know, like you can learn. Yeah. So, gosh, but I also think, like you said, it's also the way that we raise. I mean, I don't have a daughter, but the way that we raise our daughters in society and in the world, but even just, to have people, role models to look up to. That, I mean, I've been lucky that I've had great women in my life that are in the industry, but also just like in my core life, that are also a lot of like working moms and like working women who they have their personal life, but they also very much, have this, their go-getter mentality.
Yeah.
And that's...
Yeah. And also, as you said, like we are way more criticized than men. I think on the internet, it's 80%. Actually, 80% of the critics are destined to women.
Yeah.
I think I've read also that sometimes you are having a hard time with social media for your mental health. Yeah. How do you take care of your mental health?
It's an interesting question. I mean, that's something that we all have to take care of. I mean, social media can be so detrimental to your state of mind, because you can just go down that death scroll and like the rabbit hole of looking at other girls and like comparing yourself to other people's lives, or just thinking you're not good enough. I mean, you can feel like you feel great one day, and then you just like go on Instagram for 5 minutes, and then you start feeling terrible about yourself. Like, it's so easy, but you just have to try to remind yourself that that's not reality, and those images are curated, and some of them aren't even real, or you don't even know what's behind that, or what is going on in those people's lives, so it's all kind of fake. I mean, I try not to have my Instagram be fake. I mean, I kind of show the fun, like I show the fun, but I need to not be on Instagram so much. I don't have anything else. I only have Instagram. Okay. So, but yeah, because you have to kind of protect your mind. And I think what helps with your mental health is to just take those breaks and be with people you love, and be out in nature, and go on walks and go to the ocean, and just clear your mind of not thinking about. Actually, don't think about yourself. That's the thing. Stop thinking about yourself and how you can be better. And I mean, sometimes that's productive and helpful, but sometimes you just need to not think about that. Just have fun. Don't worry about what you look like, what you're wearing, like. Just let it go,
Mental break.
Yes.
So I have a last surprise for you.
Okay.
I have 3 envelopes.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
So each one of these envelope holds a memory from your career, your life.
Oh, fun.
And you get to pick one.
Okay.
So which one do you pick?
Okay. I'm going to pick this one.
Go ahead.
Why? Let's see. What is this?
Oh, well.
That's a sweet one. Oh, that's a good one. This is actually a recent
Yeah, that's a
memory.
recent one.
Yes, this was at an after party for the Golden Globes. This is true sisterhood support here, because I was nominated that night at the Golden Globes for The Great, and I got to go to the show, and this is at the after party, and my sister came and joined me at the party to support me, and we partied the night away. I love the way our eyes look in this, because she has such blue eyes and I have really green eyes, and you can like really see that in this. I don't know. We love this photo. And I think she posted this photo for my birthday.
Yeah,
this past
definitely.
birthday. Yeah.
If you could pass a message to her, what would it be?
Ooh, a message to my sister.
Yeah.
Well, I miss her because she's been working and I've been working. We've been apart, but I'm going to see her actually really soon. I think next weekend she's going to visit me, which is, I cannot wait. But I mean, she's my everything. But she knows that.
I love that.
I love her.
Final question for you, as we are on the Lights on Women's Worth podcast.
Yes.
What do you want to shed the light on?
What do I want to shed the light on? Wow, I want to shed the light on speaking your truth and speaking up and being loud and not being afraid to disrupt, if that makes sense.
It does.
Just, make chaos. Like,
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great tattoo to have.
Yeah, great.
Thank you so much, Elle.
Thank you.